Hey guys. Welcome to Secrets Behind the Stars. All the juicy details are waiting for you right here, so make sure you're subscribed and share this video before we dive in. Thank you so much. Tonight, the buzz swirling around the celebrity universe has one name echoing louder than the rest: Cenk Torun. The seasoned star has been everywhere lately, thanks to his career revival and the whispers about his private world, and now his fresh remarks about Mahassine Merabet have set the backstage humming. It all boiled over when word began to spread about a sentence he reportedly started with, after marrying Mahassine, "I'll never," a fragment that ignited curiosity even before anyone heard the full thought. That half-revealed promise was enough to send social media into a tailspin, and it planted a question in everyone's mind: was this a casual slip, or a deliberate step toward a future everyone's been speculating about? The connection between Cenk Torun and Mahassine Merabet, which took root during their long stretch of working side by side on the same project, has been a constant subject of whispers. What began as a steady friendship on set, according to those who claim to know, bloomed into something that refuses to fit inside a neat label. Fans have watched the glances, the quiet smiles, the carefully worded compliments, and the way both of them pivot when the topic turns personal. On paper, they keep their private lives guarded. In practice, every pause, every glance in an interview becomes a puzzle piece to everyone watching. And now, with Cenk breaking his usual caution just enough to hint at a promise, people are hearing a new rhythm between the lines. From sources said to be close to the actor, the whispers are that Cenk, in a candid moment with friends, spoke about Mahassine and didn't dodge the subject fans obsess over: marriage. The sentence he floated, "After marrying Mahassine, I will never open our private world to the public," ripples with meaning. It doesn't just show that he's thought about a future. It draws a line in delicate ink, one that he seems eager to protect. Some read it as an unambiguous confession that a wedding is in the cards. Others insist it's not quite an announcement, but a declaration of how he intends to love her away from flashing bulbs if that day comes. Either way, it's not nothing. It is, at the very least, a man making his boundaries known in a world obsessed with crossing them. What landed loudest wasn't just the promise of privacy, but the respect woven through his tone when he spoke her name. Those same circles say Cenk praised Mahassine's relentless discipline, her focus in an industry that rewards noise, and the way she keeps her center no matter how bright the glare gets. The idea that Mahassine's life isn't just about headlines might not sound explosive on its own, but for those who watch everything, it sounded like a statement. What they share is not a hobby for a news cycle, and it is not built for public consumption. It is built for its own sake, away from sensational storm clouds. People who adore them took it as a sign that what's between them is serious, steady, and deep enough to demand care. For her part, Mahassine Merabet has not issued a pointed response. No carefully polished statement, no coy nod, no denial. Yet those who follow her closely remember her earlier interviews, where she spoke with calm clarity about drawing curtains around her private life. Those words dovetail with his so neatly that many are reading their recent quiet not as hesitation, but as coordination. Silence can be loud when it's shared. And if you've been watching, it's obvious their quiet is not accidental, it's a choice. A chosen hush is its own language in a place that feeds on noise. Of course, social media did what social media does best: split, argue, amplify. One side is convinced that this is as clear as it gets, he's as good as announced the plan. The other side warns that everyone's running too fast with an unfinished sentence, insisting that people should wait for substance before they throw confetti. In the fan circles, especially on pages dedicated to them, the excitement is unmistakable. Threads are alive with people decoding gestures from interviews, rewatching old appearances, comparing timelines, and counting down to the moment when someone finally speaks in full. You can feel it, the curiosity here has reached a fever that even the couple's discretion can't cool. Step back from the swirl, and a bigger picture emerges. Even if Cenk Torun didn't intend to drop a neon-lit wedding alert, his words imply something sturdy and intentional. This isn't a fling waved in front of cameras for a ratings bump. This is a bond he's prepared to shelter if it grows into marriage, which very much sounds like a line he's ready to hold. Whether or not they're standing on a balcony rehearsing vows, the two of them seem to be moving with the steady choreography of people who know what they want. And for that reason, whatever they say next, whenever they say it, will be watched with breath held. Because the story of Cenk and Mahassine isn't just the rumor of the week. It's a tale that keeps writing itself in quiet glances and carefully chosen words. Then the tempo spiked again. Gossip forums flipped on their heads the moment the, after marrying Mahassine, I will never, line began to trend. Tabloids slapped the word shocking on it the way they always do, but this time it didn't feel entirely like a headline trick. Curiosity had already flooded timelines before the full version of the sentence even surfaced. Was it a spontaneous sentiment, lightly tossed into a private room? Or was it the first deliberate move in a larger plan, a soft launch of news too tender to be shouted? Everyone had an answer, and almost no one agreed. Cenk and Mahassine's story can be traced to long days and longer nights on the same set, when routine and repetition turn colleagues into confidants. The rumor that friendship tilted into something warmer grew over months, and the careful way they refused to label anything only fanned the flames. It was never about dramatic declarations or open displays, it was about how they did not speak. That restraint, that refusal to feed the machine, became the loudest sound in the room. Which is why these new words from Cenk hit so hard, they cracked the door just a sliver, and that tiny opening is all it takes for the entire world to lean in. Behind the curtain, the whispers keep circling. Those present at that intimate conversation swear that Cenk's voice carried a quiet certainty. He was not giddy, not teasing, not flippant. He sounded like someone who has weighed the cost of being adored and decided that love should not be a show. After marrying Mahassine, I will never again let our private life be turned into public spectacle. It was said with the steadiness of a vow. Not a ring, not a proposal delivered with rose petals and flashbulbs, but a line in the sand. If that chapter opens, the story will belong to them, not to the crowd. He didn't slam the door on marriage, he simply announced what it would look like if it arrived, quiet, guarded, and precious. Then came the rest of the picture. He spoke of her in ways that felt rare in an industry addicted to image. He admired her unshakable calm, her work that speaks louder than gossip, and that rare ability to keep her heart where the cameras can't follow. For an actress as visible as Mahassine, refusing to become fodder is a choice. The fact that he applauds it says everything. People close to them say this is why they work, why they move with so much care. They refuse to let a moment be stolen before they have truly lived it. That is not an accident. It is discipline. As for Mahassine, her restraint continues to be her answer. Her earlier words about guarding her life away from lenses keep resurfacing, now carrying more weight than before. She's chosen to keep steering her career forward without detouring into spectacle, and insiders whisper that she has made peace with the frenzy by not feeding it. You can read that however you want, but it aligns perfectly with the message Cenk seems to be sending. If they are building something, it's being built in quiet rooms, not on loud stages. This is not indifference. This is design. And like clockwork, the online conversation split along its usual lines. To some, this is the modern equivalent of a marriage announcement. The words were simple, but their subtext was thunder. To others, this is nothing but careful boundary setting, blown out of proportion by those hungry for fairy tales. One camp calls it a love declaration. The other calls it a grown-up statement about privacy. Both sides flood comment sections, dissect interviews, and run back through old footage, searching for any detail they may have missed. In the middle of all this, the couple's public silence becomes the loudest note of all. Put all the pieces together, and a clear shape forms. Cenk Torun's remarks about Mahassine Merabet might not be a flashing headline that shouts, wedding, but they do speak of purpose, longevity, and a map quietly drawn for what comes next. Whether the next chapter is announced next week or next year, interest won't fade. Not when a story is this magnetic. We are, all of us, watching two people carefully choose how much of their hearts to share, and that choice only draws us in more. That brings us to the close of tonight's deep dive. If you loved spending time with us, make sure you're subscribed to Secrets Behind the Stars and don't forget to share this video with your friends who live for the drama. Until next time, keep your eyes open and your notifications on, because with Cenk and Mahassine, the quiet moments are the ones that change everything.